Okay, and just a little bit about the kind of flow of this. So first, we're going to do an introduction where you'll get to meet Paulo a little bit and he can talk briefly about himself. And then we're going to go into academic and campus life and how that prepares you for the future after graduation. A little bit about resources, internships, and more that Illinois Tech has to offer. And then what life is like for Paulo after graduating from Illinois Tech, what kind of job he has right now, and how he's enjoying Chicago. And then we'll end with questions. So I'd recommend either you write down some questions that you'd have, and then at the end of the presentation, you can go ahead and type them into the chat box down here, and then we'll answer any questions or inquiries that you have. Okay, and we hope that you come away from this webinar with the understanding of how Illinois Tech can prepare an international student for success after graduation. Okay, now I'm going to briefly, introduce Paulo. He can talk about himself a little bit. All right, meet Paulo, a recent alumni of Illinois Tech. So we're going to unmute him. All right, awesome.
Can everybody hear me now?
I can hear you, so I think they're all good.
Okay,
yeah,
awesome.
Do you want to tell me a little bit about where you're from, what drove you to apply to Illinois Tech?
Yeah, of course. So first of all, good morning, everyone. My name is Paulo. I was born and raised in Brazil, and I came to IIT in 2015. So I just graduated past fall. I studied here for 4 years and a half. And I ended up coming to IIT. One, it's a very, very good STEM school. Their engineering programs are great. And I think when I visited campus, you could see that everybody's pretty focused on academics, and it was something that everybody took very seriously. So I just thought it was a really good environment for me to develop as an engineer and as a student, and thankfully a good professional now. And it's also in Chicago, and I love the city. It's a great town. I say that Chicago is my campus, not just IIT. So it's definitely something that was taken into consideration when I first applied.
Yeah, awesome. And what are you doing now, briefly, if you just want to talk about,
Oh yeah, of course. So I graduated last fall, like I said, and now I'm working at a factory a little bit south from Illinois Tech. I work as a manufacturing analyst. So basically what my job role is, we have a factory, we produce things, and my job is to basically optimize the process. So I mapped out the process that we have, and I'm trying to figure out any sort of pain points that we might have, how we can start producing more in less time, or if one of our machines is down, how we can fix it in a timely fashion so we can be up and running again. I process sales, I contact clients and suppliers. So it's very much more on the engineering management side for me. I work a lot with supply chain and optimization of processes.
Okay, great. Yeah, it sounds like you're busy. And I know, especially with what, COVID's going on right now, you had to quickly adapt to working remote.
Yeah.
But that's great that you were able to, find this position before this all.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right. So let's talk about a little bit about academic life and campus life at Illinois Tech and how it can prepare you for the future. On the right here, we have a map of Chicago, which, again, if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat box and we can answer it at the end of this webinar. But Paulo, can you talk to me a little bit about, what the academic culture was like on campus and how your classes were, I guess? Like what are some classes that stood out to you maybe?
Yeah, of course. Well, the academic culture, I think it's not like an Ivy League in the sense that everybody's crazy all the time about studying. I think everybody takes their classes seriously, but there is not a competition feeling to it. I know a lot of schools, some of your friends are going to teach you the wrong stuff, so the curve is different, and why not? I feel like IIT, that's not something that happens whatsoever. Every time that I study with friends, or if friends ask me for help, there's a very community sense. Everybody's trying to just study and do as best as they can. So I think the academic culture is really good. There's not a competitional feeling, but everybody's still taking their classes very seriously. And regarding my classes, I think the classes that stood out to me more were some classes that I took my last semester with Professor Twombly from econ. Great professor, great human being. I loved to go to class, listen to him, and then after class, just go and talk to him a little bit, asking for like life advices and why not. A lot of the professors that are here already worked in the industry for years, or are just, all professors are very knowledgeable, but some professors are here are very like approachable, and I think that's great. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to come here as well. Like um, the faculty to student ratio is pretty good. It's not like 100 to 1. It's like 13 to 1 or something like that.
Yeah, and the class sizes tend to be a little bit smaller because we are a smaller institute in a big city. So that's
exactly. So it was great because you can actually build a bond with your professors. So Professor Twombly was definitely something good for me. All my material science professors were also very, very helpful whenever I needed. My advisor was great. If I needed any help with just life advice or what am I interested in classes, why am I interested, where can I get studying this, all of them were super helpful to just sit me down, have like a hour conversation with me. So I think my classes I cannot complain a single bit about my classes. I think they were all very great. They obviously are hard. I'm not going to say they're not. Like, it is an engineering school. But professors understand that there's more to college than just homework and exams. So they give you like a manageable amount. And if you know how to work with your time, you can still be part of like student organizations and do the things that you really have fun.
Yeah, of course. Speaking about student organizations, I know you're heavily involved within student organizations on campus, whether it was like Greek Life or other organizations. Can you talk about some of your experiences and how it prepared you, I guess, for the future?
Of course, yeah. So I first came as a chemical engineering major, and then I actually changed material science after my first semester. That's actually something that is really good for the incoming students to know. If you come in and you don't really enjoy your major, you can change. Like that's a possibility. You don't have to be extremely worried about knowing what you want to do when you are 18. You just have to talk to the head of the department and explain what you want to change, and they're usually pretty okay with it. But yeah, so I was involved in student organizations, like you said. I was vice president. I was treasurer for the material science organization on campus. I went to a lot of conferences because of that are funded by the school. So that was awesome for me because I got to go to San Diego. I got to go to Phoenix to visit conferences and watch presentations from researchers all around the world. I became friends with professors from Purdue. I became friends with professors from California just by going to those conferences that were funded by the school. So that was great for me. It was a great experience. So besides the material science organization, I was also involved with Greek Life. I was president of my fraternity. I was president and the founder of the Brazilian Student Organization on campus as well. So I think, like I said, you can do your classes and be successful in your classes, but the student organizations are really what are going to get you a feeling of what the workplace outside of university is like. That's where you're actually going to learn, like, what are the companies like? What do these companies do? Why am I learning this? Like, why do I have to learn about phase transitions in material science? And then you go to a company, you're like, oh, that's why I'm learning this. And that's all provided by the student organizations.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I guess I'm interested to hear about like your Greek Life experience. How is Greek Life at Illinois Tech different from, say, like a bigger school?
That's a great question, actually. Well, like I said, I was president of my fraternity, and when I first came to IIT, I did not want to join a fraternity. We have that view that fraternities are just about drinking and partying and doing dumb things, and Greek Life at IIT really isn't like that. When you put 40 people inside of a house that always study engineering and are all freaking out about classes, like it's a very different feeling. It's more of like it's gonna sound very cliche, but it's more about the brotherhood and the company that you keep to each other than really like the partying thing. we are very well more tamed than state schools. Um, like I said, I never wanted to join a Greek life organization. I ended up becoming the president. I'm going to be the resident advisor right now for my fraternity, so I'm still going to be here for 2 more years. We truly believe more in the uh, true meaning of the fraternity, which is be there for each other. Like, I'm not going to say I'm best friends with everybody in my fraternity, but if anybody called me at 6 a.m. Uh, because their car broke down in the highway, I'll go there and help push. It's truly about like being there for each other. And by being the president, I think that really prepared me to be like a leader in the workplace. Like I know how to motivate people. We do a ton of philanthropy. Uh, so it's about like helping each other, helping the community around us.
Yeah, awesome. So it's a great support network in that way.
It
Definitely.
really is, yeah.
Yeah. So I think an international student coming to college, and definitely a college in America, definitely has to deal with like, transitioning to a new life in the city or place that they're studying at. Can you talk a little bit about, maybe some of the struggles that they may expect, and how, uh, you were able to deal with them, or how Illinois Tech was able to help you in certain ways?
Yeah, of course. So my freshman year of college, my main struggle was definitely missing home, missing my family. You come to a place you don't know anybody at first, and you just expected to, get by and go through hard classes, go through hard times, and you don't have that support system that your family is there to provide you. You know, um, so I think the primary thing for me adapting in life in America was one to have friends. Um, a lot of international students are afraid of like how are the Americans gonna treat them when they first come here to the U.S. Are they gonna like I don't know how to put exactly that into words, but um, Americans are not they don't have cliques. I came to realize that um, I was super welcome when I first came to Chicago. I cannot say that for the entirety of the U.S., but like you cannot say that about you cannot generalize anywhere. But Chicago, at least, is a very pardon me, it's a very open-minded city. It's a very welcoming place. Everybody that comes to IIT, at least from my experience, who are super interested of knowing more about where I'm from. Like I said, oh, I'm from Brazil, and they're like, oh my God, how is Brazil? Like, tell me about this, tell me about soccer, tell me about, like everybody was super excited to meet somebody else from another country.
Mhm.
So I think that was pretty cool. I was more nervous than I should have. Uh, but of course, like I'll understand if you guys are nervous about that. But I'm telling you, like it's not. There's no need to be nervous about that. Everything works out at the end. And there
Yeah.
is a huge community of international students here as well. So like there is other people that are going through the same struggles that you are. So it's always good to also know them. Like if you have any problems, you can talk to them. If you have any problems, you can talk to your advisors. I remember there was one time I had a problem at home, and I wasn't able to focus on class. I wasn't able to deliver my homework in time. And then I went to talk to my advisor. I was like, hey, his name was Professor Semi Tin. I was like, Professor Tin, something happened. Like I'm sorry I missed the lab. I'm not being able to sleep well. I wish I could do something about it. And he was like, don't you worry about it. I understand. Let's work something out. Like I'll extend your deadline. Like don't you worry. Like we'll work out. You know. So
Yeah. It's
professors are understanding of that. It was really great.
yeah. I mean, coming from your experience, it sounds like a rigorous academic environment, but professors understand that you're humans too, and that
Exactly. Yeah.
they're able to, make compromises, or, help you. They want you to succeed here.
They definitely do. They most definitely do. Yes.
Exactly. So you mentioned living in Chicago. I guess,
Yeah.
how is that? I mean, what are some things that you like to do in the city? I guess, how has it been for you?
Well, first of all, I love big cities. I'm from a big city myself. I'm from São Paulo, in Brazil. So like, I'm just used to craziness, you know. But I love Chicago. It's an amazing place. Just being able to go downtown whenever you're like a little bit stressed. You're like, okay, I'm gonna go downtown a little bit and just walk around. It's a great town. I think besides just being fun and having restaurants and bars and attractions and parks and all of that good stuff. The biggest thing about Chicago is that like you have so many opportunities as well. Even as an international student, like you have a few more barriers that you have to go through. Like you cannot really get a job off campus that are not related to your major and stuff like that. But you can get volunteering opportunities, for example. Myself, I volunteered for the Illinois Domestic Violence Hotline for a while now. Because I started volunteering for the Title IX office here, and for you guys that don't know what Title IX is, it's the sexual assault prevention um, office on campus, basically. So if there's some sort of sexual assault um, investigation going on, they're the ones that do it. So there's this whole concern that the university and the federal government have to prevent things like that happening on campus. So Illinois Tech really tries to promote a safe and healthy environment for everybody that studies here. So I volunteered with them for a little bit, and then started volunteering with the Domestic Violence Hotline for the state. And we did such a good job that I actually had the chance of meeting with the mayor of Chicago. And I sat down with her for like 15 minutes. We talked about strategies that we had and how she could support us. And because of that, I met with the deputy mayor of the economic development of Chicago, and he offered to help me find a job. He offered to be my mentor. The guy worked for Obama, like at the White House, you know. So I think, pardon me?
Was this Rahm Emanuel?
No, it was Lightfoot.
Okay, Lightfoot, yeah.
Yeah, it was in February.
So very recent. Very
recent. So, you know, I think you have these opportunities of like volunteering in Chicago. And if I told myself, like the Paulo from 4 years ago, living in Brazil, that someday I would have somebody that worked for Obama at the White House to be my mentor in life, I would say like, nah, you're joking, you know, like. But that's one of the things that only happens when you go to a big city like Chicago. You know, if you work hard and you put in effort, they're gonna recognize and they see that you're like a young person that is trying to make a difference. And it's just a great opportunity. It's something that you're not gonna get when you go to like, you know, countryside, small like state universities like on the countryside only. Like Illinois Tech might be not a huge campus down here, but you have all the other opportunities in the rest of the city. So you just got to know how to work that out.
Yeah, very well put. Very well put. All right. Let's move on to our next, slide, our next topic. So we're going to talk about a little bit about the resources, internships, and more that Illinois Tech has to, I guess, help you succeed while you're at the school and then after you graduate. So we do have a career services on campus. Paulo, do you want to just talk briefly about like maybe your experience with that or other students' experiences with career services and how they help you?
Yeah, definitely. So career services is an office on campus that they're there basically to help you find internships and jobs after graduation. The new provost for career services, he just started I think actually this year, like January or November. He's really, really new at the university, but he has amazing plans for the office. He's shaking things up. Career services is actually a really, really good office now. As I was looking for full-time opportunities, I went there. They got my resume reviewed. They got my cover letters reviewed, my LinkedIn reviewed. Like they gave me all these hints and like how to make it work. One day I just ran by the lady that helped me, and she recognized. She was like, "Oh, Paulo, how are you doing?" That was like a month after our appointment, So it was really cool. Like they're really, really worried about helping you succeed. So career service is actually doing a great job now. T, who is the provost, he's doing an amazing job. I always recommend the people from my fraternity to go there and use it because they're very worried about helping you.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good resource. Like you said, they do resume reviews for you. They help mock interviews. I know that's something that a lot of students may be nervous about, but they can help kind of guide you as to what to say that's appropriate during an interview. So it is a great resource at Illinois Tech. We also have career fairs on campus. We have at least one every semester. And they can be major specific or driven to certain careers. Paulo, do you want to just briefly touch on that at all?
Yeah, sure. Career fairs. I went to a few. It's a great opportunity just to get to know employers and see what they're looking for. You know, you come in, you give them your resume, you talk a little bit. I know a lot of people that got jobs from career fairs here at IIT. I personally didn't, but I got a lot of contacts. I got invited to apply for a lot of um, master's programs. Purdue already told me because I met the head of the engineering management department there, and I was talking to him just casually. He was like, "Hey, I really like you. If you want to come to Purdue, just shoot me an email, apply everything, and like you're basically in. Like as long as you got the minimum grade, I already did your interview here and didn't even realize it. So career fairs are pretty great.
Yeah.
Even if you're not really looking for anything at first, like as a freshman, they're usually looking for a little bit older people like seniors or super seniors. It's good to go since the beginning, so you at least have like an interview experience. You understand what they're looking for. You can go to an employer and just say like, hey, I don't really know what I'm doing. Like I don't know. I'm not really looking for an internship right now, but I just wanted to talk to you and pretend I understand what you're looking for, so I can later on tailor my experiences and tailor my college experience, so I can be a good candidate for you 3 years from now.
Yeah,
You know?
definitely, definitely. It's a good like personal growth tool, and it helps you with networking specifically. I think that's the main
Mhm.
thing. In addition to these in-person fairs, there are some virtual career fairs as well that students can participate in. So I'd highly recommend you look into those once you do end up attending Illinois Tech. In addition to internships, because we are a STEM school, there are a lot of research opportunities. A lot of students can apply for $5,000 research grants. That they would have to get approved by the university, obviously, but that's something that you're able to do. Paulo, do you want to talk about that a little bit? What some of your
Mhm.
friends have done and how they dealt with it?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I personally never did any research through the university, only for classes. But I know a lot of people that did research. Actually, I know uh, the girl in the picture with the purple gloves. She's a friend of mine.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, I know a lot of people that did a lot of research here. Everybody really enjoys it. Sometimes they even stay over the summer and do research here, or they can work for a professor and try to help out professors. I know a girl from Greek Life. She used to work with a professor for the mechanical engineering department, and now she was invited to work for NASA because of that. So the research programs are also a great opportunity. I know another friend of mine. He had a grant to go and work for NASA because he worked for here, like at IIT. I know a lot of people actually that went to NASA because they do research here. Now that
Mhm.
I think about it. Um,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, a lot of my friends did research here, and everybody really enjoyed the experience. Professors are really helpful, like I said. So if you ever had any problems, the professors are there too. It is your research, but they're the ones that know about it.
Yeah, yeah, they're kind of like guiding you, I guess, giving you,
Yeah.
information that can help you. Um,
Hmm.
and now I just want to briefly touch on the Elevate program at Illinois Tech. So this is basically a hub of all of Illinois Tech's external resources. You can just go into Google, look up Elevate at Illinois Tech, and it'll bring you to their page. They have, information about study abroad, external research opportunities, internships, research that you can look into. And then something that we didn't really touch on was, I guess how international students are able to do internships at Illinois Tech. I know it's a little bit more of a complex process as opposed to a domestic student. So I just want you guys to keep in mind that to get an internship through CPT, you have to have full 2 full terms of study at Illinois Tech first. Okay.
Hmm.
You don't want to jump into an internship right away. I think you just kind of want to get acclimated to campus first. But
Hmm.
again, you can still go to these career fairs and check out, opportunities that you can do in the future,
Hmm.
just to help guide you.
Can I actually add to that, if you don't
Yes.
mind, Tyler? I actually don't even recommend you looking for an internship for your first summer.
Mhm.
Like, you just went through your first year of college, go home, visit your family, see how they are, spend a little bit of time with them. You don't have enough knowledge yet to work in the industry as a freshman. So or your first summer, go home, then sophomore year, then you can start looking for it. Don't feel the pressure. But like if you find it great, like you're already more prepared, and then junior and senior year, then you go for it. Then it's 100%. Like find an internship, get prepared. But make sure you take care of yourself your first year. First year is adapting to the country. Second year is when that first wave of being nervous about everything is gone. So now let's get to work. Junior year is when you're gonna make yourself, like you're gonna make a name for yourself. And then senior year, it's all about finding a job. So make sure that the first summer, just enjoy your family. Like don't you worry too much about finding an internship.
That's some great advice. I think it's just important to be realistic with expectations, especially as, a first year student in a new country at a new school. Thank you for that. I want to briefly show this page. Paulo, is this page coming up?
Yeah, it's coming up. Yeah, you can see it.
Great. So this is a page you guys can go to. Just look up career outcomes, Illinois Tech in Google, and it'll show up. So you're able to see, what students have been able to accomplish after graduating from Illinois. So just an example here, I'm gonna go to the Armour College of Engineering. So if you look down here, I've got to refresh. Yep, so you can see right here, 65% of our students that have graduated within the past 6 months from the Armour College of Engineering have full-time positions, okay? You can also look at, ones that have completed an internship. It goes up to 74%, okay? So again, that first year, you don't want to dive into it because you don't have the experience yet, but I think they are really helpful in, putting yourself out there. You can also see some of the starting salaries for some of our graduates, some of our top employers. We have Amazon, Boeing, Civil Tech Engineering.
Exelon there as well.
Yes, Exelon as well. Where students go, if they're continuing their education after, more about degree types and fields of study. So this is a great resource if you're looking to see, what graduates are doing after they're done with it. So please go ahead and look this up, use it as a resource for you. Okay, let's get back to the presentation. Okay, then we're going to move on to this side. So life after Illinois Tech. How has Paulo navigated the job market after graduating from us? Paulo, can you talk a little bit about the OPT process, optional practical training, and how that was for you?
Yeah, of course. So the OPT is basically the CPT, but for after you graduate. OPT basically is a work permit that allows me to stay in the country. So you have to apply to get the OPT for at least 2 months after you graduate college. So I graduated in December. I actually applied for it in December just because I wanted to be safe. Then you apply, you wait for your work permit to get here. It's around 2 months after you apply for it. Once you get your work permit and you're approved, then you have 3 months to find a job, right? If you find a job, great. You can stay for a whole year. Then you can reapply for it 2 years because I was a STEM major, so STEM majors, when they apply for the OPT, they're actually allowed to reapply for it 2 years. So you actually have 3 years of being in the country without requiring any sponsorship, any visa sponsorship. While as other majors that are not STEM, they actually only have 1 year. But STEM majors, and I imagine most of you guys, or if not all of you, are coming for an engineering program or architecture program, you have 3 years because it is a STEM major. The only trick part is finding a job in that time. A lot of students come out of enter their senior year already with offers. That was not my case. I actually had to find a job after I graduated. I was in the hunt. But personally, I was not super worried. I feel like if you put an honest effort into your college career, something's going to show up. So yeah, the OPT is, you have 5 months to find a job, basically, and with the education, the curriculum, you're going to make it for yourself. At Illinois Tech, there is not really a huge reason to be worried about it.
Yeah. Great. So how was that, finding your role? I mean, what kind of avenues did you use to find jobs after graduating?
I went, so I used career services, and through career services, they gave me a lot of tips of like how to look for jobs. And you realize that a lot of the things you're doing are not really going to have a successful rate, let's say, or getting you interviews. So I went to career fairs. I went to IIT career fairs. I went to career fairs outside of campus. I went to one in Northwestern, for example. Um, I applied for a lot of jobs on LinkedIn, on Monster, all those like online platforms for jobs I applied. Um, Something that I did a lot was reaching out to people in companies that studied at IIT. So, for example, you said that we have a lot of graduates in Amazon. So I went on LinkedIn, I typed Amazon, I clicked the employers tab, and then I filtered to Illinois Tech alumni, and then you just get like a lot of people that studied at IIT that work at Amazon now, and then you add them on LinkedIn with a message like, "Hey, my name's Paulo. I'm interested in working at Amazon someday. I wish we could talk a little bit more about the culture of the company, for example. Please add me so we can have a conversation." And then you make the connection, the network, and then they talk to about you to their bosses, or people can get you in. You get a referral from an employer. So all those, finding a job it can be a little bit stressful, because you just spend all that money to come to IIT. You want to find a job, but just try to keep it cool. Try not to freak out, because if you start getting desperate, then that's when you're not going to really find a job, because you're just going to be applying for all of these jobs and you're not going to be focusing on doing something that you actually want to do.
I think it's important to be very proactive, though.
No, yeah, of course.
Yeah, this is your job search. Illinois Tech has resources that can help you, but it's your job to utilize them. Okay, don't just be handed a job. You have to put in the effort to find it.
Yeah. Don't play video games the whole day. Don't freak out, but like be on LinkedIn the whole day, keep applying, but just don't be like, oh my God, I need to find a job. Keep your cool, but do everything you can. Do everything you can.
Awesome. So a lot of the times, students, international students, especially in terms of their visa interview, they're expected to, after they graduate from a school in their country, to go back to their home country. Okay. This is something that's, important when you're, interviewing for your visa, just to, definitely state that, you want to bring back the skills that you've made to your home country. Paulo, can you talk a little bit about once you do go back to Brazil, like how you're going to use the skills that you've gained?
Yeah. Well, I realized that my first and second year when I went back home, living by yourself in a whole different country toughens you up a lot. And I could it was very obvious the difference in maturity between me and my friends from high school, because they're always still living at home. Their moms and dads were always still doing their laundry or cooking for them. While I was here, you have to do everything by yourself. You have to figure it out. You need to time yourself well so you can get everything accomplished. While if you're living at home, their parents sometimes may not be like that. So it definitely makes you a little bit more self-centered, not self-centered, but you're more focused. You don't get distracted by problems that easily. You have a problem, okay, let's do it. You don't keep going over oh my God, what am I gonna do? I feel being here definitely made me more proactive and with more of a problem solution type of mindset. And then I feel also living in the US, people are very welcoming, like I said, but they also take their job very seriously, so I feel like Americans are really professional about a lot of things. When I had my internships back in Brazil, for example, everybody's very, yo, what's up? Let's go drink a beer after, kind of thing. And that's good, but at the same time, that kind of mixes a little bit job with personal life, and that's fine, but not to the extent that Brazil is I feel I'm a little bit uncomfortable with that in Brazil. While I was in the US, everybody's really professional, and I think that professional mindset. It's what makes the US what they are. Like they accomplish so many things. It's a very successful country. So I think it's really important for international students to realize that like coming to the US, you're gonna come back as like a whole different mindset of being professional, and it's very valued for companies. Like being able to come in and just sit down and do your job and focus on it and like be a great employee. I feel like also having the experience of living in a different country, having that, second language, being completely fluent on it, and especially English, and like having the international experience of, dealing with other cultures as well. If you work for Amazon, you can have meetings with people from Latin America, but then you're going to say like, oh, wait, but I met somebody during college that was from Colombia, and I know a little bit of facts from Colombia. So you can make that connection with the person, like I never met anybody that was Muslim in Brazil. And when I came here, so many friends are Muslims, and like they're super sweet, and like it was such something that I didn't know, like it was not part of my day-to-day routine. So I think you become a world citizen, basically. Like you're going to be more valued because you are more all around of a person than if you stay at home.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely expands your worldview coming to such like a multicultural, multifaceted campus. So thank you for that.
100%. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How do you stay connected to Illinois Tech now, I guess?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a reason to feel connected, I guess?
I do, yeah. A lot of people, there's this school pride, and above anything else, there is a school pride, but there's also, I have a pride of saying that I came here and I stayed here for 4 years in Chicago. I feel like just Chicagoans in general are very proud of their city, and it's something that rubs off on you. So I'm proud of being from Illinois Tech. I'm proud of living 4 years and a half in Chicago. I feel like that's my city in the U.S. now. And I stay connected by, well, now I'm the RA for the fraternity, so I still live in the fraternity for 2 more years. I still want to give back to the community. I'm part of the alumni, Illinois Tech's Alumni Board International Committee. So I'm the responsible for all South American students and prospective students and alumni. So like I kind of have a voice now inside of the committee and alumni board. Even I'm a very recent graduate, like I made friends with trustees of the university. So they helped me to make a difference, basically. There are problems with Illinois Tech, like any other university you're going to go to. Like people are going to make it seem like it's perfect. It's not, but nowhere is. Like Harvard's not perfect, MIT's not perfect, Georgia Tech's not perfect. But the good thing about Illinois Tech is that there is an active community of alumni. There's an active community of trustees. There's an active community of undergraduate students that want to make a difference. So it's not a lot of schools. I know that they have problems, but they just don't do anything about it. It's just like, oh, it's the way it is. Let's just stay like that. IIT, Illinois Tech, for being like a small campus, everybody's extremely involved, and people are willing to put in effort to make changes. So that's the good thing about it, it's so small that everybody communicates with each other. I've sent like letters to the president and I got answers. I sent letters to trustees and I got answers. I had dinner with the vice president of the university once. He just came to my fraternity and had dinner with us. So I think that's the good thing about Illinois Tech. Like your voice is heard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's great. Just that's the best part about being a small like school in a big city. Like the best of both worlds in that way. Thank you for that. So what is, I kind of want to end this on like, what is a piece of advice that is essential for an international student attending Illinois Tech based on your perspective as an alumni of that?
Yeah.
What advice would you give them?
So I think the biggest piece of advice I can give is a lot of international students are worried about coming to the U.S. and feeling like they're less. I remember when I first came, when I was about to come to the U.S., I wanted to learn a martial art just to defend myself if anything ever like happened, which was like super dumb. But I don't know. I was a senior in college, in high school. I was worried about that. I was worried I was going to suffer like any sort of like racism or bullying for having an accent. But honestly, like the biggest piece of advice I can give is like, don't think you're less than anybody else just because you're here in another country. You are from another country, which means that language is probably not your first, English is probably not your first language. You're having calculus in English, you're having, differential equations in English, you're having chemistry, physics, you're having history of architecture in English. It's not your first language. So everything that you're doing here is extremely like, it's gonna be harder for you, but don't think you're less than anybody else. Like you're learning extremely complex concepts in a whole different language. So don't think you're gonna be less than any Americans for having an accent, for you know uh, liking to have dinner late at night. I know people made fun of me because I ate pizza using knife and fork instead of using my hands. Like those small things, like just don't think you're less than anybody else because you have an accent. You're having the same type of education that they are. You are going to get a degree from a highly respected university. You know, don't don't get frustrated just because you say I don't know, like collar instead of collar.
Yeah.
Don't be intimidated.
Yeah, don't be hard on yourself, obviously. And yeah, like Paulo said, it's important to realize this is you're studying in a different language, so it's important to be patient with yourself. I think is the main thing. But thank you for that piece of advice. I think that's really profound for our international students. So we've reached the end of the presentation. Feel free, does anyone have any questions for us? Feel free to write in the chat box down here, and Paulo and I would be happy to answer any kinds of questions that you have to us, relating to life at Illinois Tech, or relating to, the job process, or just anything that we can help you with.
Feel free to shoot me an email as well if you guys want. Like I said, I'm still going to be part of the community, so.
So I have a question here. Will your fall semester be postponed due to COVID-19? Nope, that is not the plan right now. So for international students for this fall, international students do have the option to come to campus, or just for this fall only, international students can take our classes online in their home country and then come to campus in the spring. If this is something that you're interested in doing, you can reach out to me at my email listed on here. That's a great question. But again, you have the option to either come to campus or, take online courses with us this fall and then come in the spring. So yes, great question. Are there any other questions? If everyone could please type their name into the chat box here, that'd be great. I just kind of want to register, that you showed up. Okay, great question. Can you talk a little bit about different extracurriculars at IIT, maybe those about art and culture in general? Paulo, are you aware of, some of the student organizations on campus to do with art and culture?
Oh yeah, definitely. So there are several student organizations on campus that deal with that. For example, one I can think of right off the bat is Love to Dance. It's a group of students that just love to dance, and then they put on presentations every semester. I think like they learn choreographies, and there are different cultural organizations as well. Like I said, I was the president for the Brazilian Student Association, but there is like the African Student African Student Community. I think I don't remember exactly now what's the African Student Organization, ASO. There's the International Student Organization as well, the ISO. There's the Polish Student Organization, and all of those organizations, like, you're more than welcome to join, even if you're not part of that country, if you're not part of that culture. Everybody's very welcome if you want to learn more about it. There's the architectural student organization as well, or the name's a little bit different. But if you're interested in architecture and do tours and like visiting sites and stuff like that, they also provide those opportunities. Arts and culture in general. Yeah, and then extracurriculars. Yeah, I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, no,
But
I
yeah,
think that did.
yeah,
In addition to what is offered at Illinois Tech, obviously we live in the cultural and art hub of Chicago, so there's a lot of
yeah,
cool art museums within like the main downtown area that you can go to. And I know during the summer there's a lot of cool cultural events. I actually live on the north side of Chicago, and I live right by Little Vietnam. So there's a ton of cool Vietnamese restaurants. Like the whole street is just Vietnamese food, and it's a great,
yeah,
you know, get away from,
yeah,
American culture. And
yeah,
there's like
yeah,
little pockets of this all over, actually.
yeah.
But
If
right,
you're worried about culture, like Chicago is just a melting pot. Anywhere you go, you're gonna get a different experience. So it's definitely a great place if you're interested in that type of stuff.
yes, definitely. So, will it be compulsory to live in the college dorms in the first year? So, to answer this question, yes. All first year incoming students, unless you live within 20 miles of the city, have to live on campus for 2 years. Okay. But in my opinion, living on campus is really important to like integrating into Illinois Tech and Chicago life, because that's how, you know, you make friends. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, how many extra credits will I have to complete if I want to minor in philosophy along with comp sci? Um, it can depend. I would look on the website specifically. I know, correct me if I'm wrong, Paulo, but for minors, it might range from like, I believe, 15 to 30 credits.
Yeah, yeah. Minors are usually 5 to 6 classes. Like those, that's my experience with minors. Um, but as well, like you cannot have a, you want to have that problem because it's philosophy and comp sci, so they're two very different, distinct, I guess, subject of study. But your minor, the classes you take for a minor are not supposed to count for your major. So they have to be exclusively towards a minor, exclusively towards a major. So it's usually from most minors that I've seen were 5 to 6 classes, but I know minors that also take 30 credits. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Great. Um, within like comp sci or other majors, there are specializations that you can do as well that would count, toward your major. So you should look into that if you wanted to specialize in something.
Oh, Tyler, do you want to tell them more about the co-term program? I don't think we mentioned that, and it's a huge attractive.
Oh, yes, yes, of course, of course.
Yeah.
That's a great point. So we do have a co-terminal, or I think it changed, the wording's changed to accelerated masters now. Um, so if you're interested in doing a master's degree at Illinois Tech, you're able to complete that master's degree in 1 year, okay, as opposed to 2 years. So say it's your second or third year, you'd start talking with like your academic advisor to determine if that's the right choice for you. It is kind of rigorous to apply for. You need to maintain a higher GPA. But the thing is, with that last year, you're still going to pay your same undergraduate tuition rate with your same scholarship. So, you get to graduate sooner and get out into the workforce sooner with your experience. How
Yes.
do you want to touch on that at all? Or,
Yeah, I think that was pretty good. Yeah, just add one more year and get out with a master's. I think it's a pretty sweet deal.
yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. And you can kind of, like, again, talk to your academic advisor and kind of form the master's program that would work best for you. And he can tell you if that's realistic with your
Mhm.
current undergraduate major. How many minors can a student pick? Can it be more than one? I believe, yes, you can, choose, more than one minor. I know at my university, I have two minors. Paulo, did you want to touch on that? Is that something that's possible at Illinois Tech?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, yeah. You can definitely pick more than one minor. At a certain point, I was a material science major with a minor in and one minor in psychology and another minor in human resources. That's something that I did. But then I realized that I was taking two minors and I could just do a second major if I wanted to instead of two minors, and just add up another semester to my graduation instead of like whole new 4 years. So um, it's truly up to you what you want to do, but you're allowed to pick more than one minor. But if you're already adding two minors, it might be worth it for you to take a look and see if you can just extend your stay at IIT for a little bit more and get a second major. Because, in my opinion, having more like another major is a little bit better than having minors. Um,
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I
yeah,
think I obviously, if you have a passion that you don't want to devote to a major, it's good to do a minor just for your own personal interest. But I think, focusing on your major is the more profound and more important thing in the long run.
Yeah, and you're going to be required to take humanity classes either way at IIT. So maybe if you're already taking humanity classes, what I meant before about classes for your minor and classes for your major have to be separate. That doesn't apply for humanities. So if you already took 2 classes of psychology for your as a humanities for your major, those classes still count for your minor. So if you just have to add like 2 more classes to get a minor in psychology, but you're actually interested in it, just go for it. That in that case it wouldn't be worth it. For me, it was worth it just because the classes were very close to each other, so I was able to mix it around and just add another semester. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like the other side, like if you're super interested in philosophy, but you don't have like your comp sci, like somebody said up here, then yeah, like you're gonna have to add a lot because the classes don't really translate to each other. But you already took philosophy classes for your comp sci major, so just do the minor. Enjoy yourself. Do it because you want to and because you think you're interested in, but don't really do it because you think it's going to be a huge difference in the work market, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well put. So we have a question here. Is a bachelor's of architecture with a minor in law possible? I just need to verify. I'm not sure that Illinois Tech has a minor in law. I'm looking it up right now. We do have a law school that you can apply for, but it's for our grad students. Again, this is something you can talk about with your academic advisor. I think it's important to, get that information. But again, I think it's possible to minor in pretty much anything with any major. I know with architecture, it's very, very specialized. So you're going to have a studio every semester. There's very specific courses that you have to take for architecture. So it may be a little bit more difficult to minor in things, but again, you just have to talk about with that with your architecture, academic advisor, because it is such a specialized program.
There is a document that IIT provides online. I can take a look here if I can find it. But it says all the majors and minors. Huh?
Yeah, I see a list of minors here, and law is not one of them.
Okay.
But again, we do have a law school, so if you're looking to, get a degree in law, that's something that you can do after you graduate with your undergraduate degree, if that makes sense. Within the field of architecture, there are specializations that you can do as well. I know there's a few STEM ones that you can look into. You can focus in business a little bit with architecture as well. So that's something that you could also look into. Mm-hmm. Now, all right, those are some great questions. Are there any other questions?
Anything at all, we're more than happy to answer.
More than happy to help you out. If you don't have any questions, you can reach out to us through our emails down here, thardy4@iit.edu and Kodaira Paulo@gmail.com. Paulo's been great. He's also given his WhatsApp number if you wanted to reach out to him through WhatsApp. And he also has linked his LinkedIn here as well. If you wanted to, see what he's done while he's been a student at Illinois Tech, just some of his experiences and stuff. All right, I'm gonna give it another minute. Are there any more questions?
Make sure if you're messaging me on WhatsApp, please just write your name and say that you talked to me, so I know who you are.
Yes, no, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that's the end of our presentation. I want to thank you for attending, and I hope this was helpful for you and give you an idea of, what Illinois Tech can offer and how, Paulo's